Hi folks, right, time for another wander around the plot really, I suppose. I did one the other day, but I was in a bit of a rush and yeah, it wasn't great, and I've sort of done a bit of work today. Even though my arm's knackered, I've managed to get a bed mulched up, cardboarded up, and then some posts on top, some posts that I've got spared until winter. I've managed to weed out the strawberry bed, as well as separate out some of the runners that I did about 4 or 5 weeks ago. They'd rooted, so they've gone into here. These will be going home to be looked after in the greenhouse, just to make sure really that they take, because I've got loads of space in that strawberry bed. There's a couple of big plants. I've had them 2 years, and they were gifted to me from somebody who was digging them up. So, you know, there's some of the big ones that really want to come out this next year. So there's going to be loads in there, but I'm hoping to start another bed, and then I'll clear this one, and then I'll feed this one back up with runners from the little red bed over there, which I think I'm going to designate as my new strawberry bed. I've weeded out my beans and chard. Yes, they're very small, but yes, they were very late planted. I'm just hoping for a late season really. I threw them in because I had them, and let's see what happens. Doesn't hurt, does it? And I just sort of a bit of a closer look at the beds with the covers off. So there you can see me frame legs. They go in these bits of drain pipe here, and it just keeps the legs basically from rotting, because it's, you know, they're not sat in water, they're not sat in dirt. And in all these beds, so this one, that one, all these beds around here, the red ones, are all the same dimensions. So, you know, some of the covers are taller than others. And what that enables me to do is, you know, if I put Brussels sprouts in this one next year, for example, as we all know, they grow a few feet tall. It means that I can put the larger one on here or on there, or, you know, wherever I decide to grow. It just enables me to rotate and not have to fanny about making new covers every year. Peas, they'll be coming out basically when I can dig them up. They all want picking now. And then this A-frame didn't really work for me this year, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up there, I'm going to spread it out, and I'm going to make a corridor that I can get down, and I'll plant on the inside with a roof. Stop the birds getting in and eating them all, hopefully. But I'm going to let some of these pods dry on. I looked, these ambassador type, they're not an F1, so it means that I can leave some of the pods on, let them dry, and I don't have to buy pea seeds next year. So, you know, kind of happy about that. I'm going to really work on this side this coming year, sort of designate some paths and some large beds, just so that I don't end up with, you know, walkways like this. I mean, I don't suppose there's really anything wrong with it. I know it's a walkway, I'm not growing anything on it, but I don't know, it doesn't look great, does it? You know, these allotments for a lot of people are kind of about escapism, and sort of when you're sort of, you know, walking through trails of weeds, it's not as much fun, is it? It's not as nice, especially not if you're someone like me with a touch of OCD. But anyway, this rain over the last sort of few days after that extreme dry spell, we had one good downpour, and it shocked nearly all my corn into life. I always get concerned when this happens, because, you know, you expect to see corn sort of, you know, that's maybe what, 5 foot, and, you know, you expect to see it sort of, you know, considerably taller. But it'll still grow, even though the male part has come out. It'll still grow. Give it a little tap, shake some pollen off. But even if it doesn't, I mean, these guys back here, they should all be the same variety, but maybe they're not, I don't know. You know, they've got the female parts out. There's a couple on each one. Now in Britain, as far as my understanding anyway, if you get 2 cobs off one plant, then you're doing quite well. So, you know, I'll leave them, let them be. It's just a random lemon plant that I collected the seed out of a lemon I was doing some cooking with. There's 4 or 5 of them scattered around. So yeah, my corn has absolutely rocketed away. So the taller ones are about 5 foot now. I've had Maris peas out of here. I do love them. I've decided they're certainly my early potato next year. My only early. I'm not doing 4 or 5 varieties again like I have done the past few years. Excuse me. I need to get in here. I'm going to get in here and weed. That's my next job. But here we've got little baby petty pan squash. Look. Anyway, in here. Oh God, that's shot on it last sort of 24 hours. That's the size of a bowling green ball now. That's pretty big. Sort of 2 in here. You know, there's a fair few. So hopefully we'll have some. I only grow, as I've said before, the jack-o'-lantern variety. Anybody who says they actually like to eat pumpkins, I don't believe them. Don't trust them. Don't trust them. Looks like my King Edwards that are in the soil. Yeah, King Edwards. Looks like another week or so and they'll be ready to come out. My Desire, Desmond, you know, whatever you want to call them, still look to be going strong. My Purple Majesty that went in the ground, big disappointment. Obviously, I've let the road go to weed a bit, but the potatoes that went in the ground did pretty much nothing at all. Still a messy shed, a couple of empty beds. That one's just got a couple of 3 red all year round lettuce. Quick look in the greenhouse. You know, we've all seen tomatoes. I've topped all of these now. So my San Marzanos, not even sure whether these were determinate, cordon, indeterminate, whatever. I've got a feeling that they were determinate or bush, because they were really slow growing. But I've taken the side shoots out. I'll try again next year with a different variety from I think I got them from eBay, and you don't get the best of information. But these guys are doing well again. Fair few tomatoes on them, just waiting for them to ripen up really. I took the heads out of these guys at about 6 foot, but I know that variety, I grew them last year. They're self-harvested seeds. They seem to do quite well. All this back here, this entire space, just to sort of show, is all getting redeveloped through winter, hopefully, if I can get my hands on the timber. And I want to try and reclaim all this sort of 10-15 foot of wasted space back here. But the problem here, as you can see down here, that's actually vertical. There's about 1 foot higher, and then, you know, back there is obviously the road, but all the trees are going to make digging this out impossible. I think all I can do is try, see what happens. Hopefully I'll be back in work. I may even be able to afford to rent a little digger for the day, and I can pretend to be a groundsman. You know, every little boy's dream. I've not been in my polytunnel yet today, so let's have a quick look. Ooh, me melon. Ooh, me melon's got melons. Not they diddy, but they've got melons. Melons in this country will never grow big anyway. Let's pull that in. We've had the pak choi, won't be growing that again. Didn't go down too well with the family. Oh look, still kohlrabi. Interplanted with weeds and some more red lettuce, some more wow, these cucumbers. Now I'm hoping somebody can kind of, okay, I've got some more to harvest down there. I'm hoping somebody can kind of help me out here. Mine tend to, let me try and take a step back, tend to grow a bit crazy. I try to give them something to climb up. They tend to have a tendency to ignore it. Now, if people can help me out here, do people trim their cucumbers so that there's only one main stem, or do I just do something wrong and let them, when the cucumbers are a young age, and let them go wild? Do they need more discipline? Do they need grounding? Do I need to send them off to military school? What am I doing wrong? I must be doing something wrong. Anyway, Sugar Rush Peach, there's some beauties on there now. I'm really looking forward to tasting some of these. They're not ready yet, but they're getting there. Looks like I might have some bell peppers to harvest soon. This is another Sugar Rush peach. I will say this, the Sugar Rush peach, not too happy about being in a pot, but it's loving being in here. The ones that I've pot grown at home, I really, you know, they really struggle. They really look sad for themselves on occasion. Yeah, I don't really know what to do for them. I mean, they're fruiting. I'm sorry, I'm just looking. I'm trying to look at the cucamelon. It's still absolutely. I mean, once again, I've let it go wild, and chances are, if I have a proper root around, there'll probably be one massive overgrown cucamelon somewhere that is sapping all the energy out of the plant. Not right bothered, to be honest. It was grown as an experiment. Here we have a jalapeno that really needs harvesting. Lots of lovely jalapenos on there. For such a small plant, I need to take them off. Another Sugar Rush. I might take some of these off soon, and in the hope of strengthening the plant a little bit. And another Sugar Rush. This is quite a strong plant, not as much fruit, but I'm happy with that. It doesn't overly bother me that it's. I'd rather it be a strong plant. And me stand a chance. Wow, a lot of bugs. And me stand a chance of perhaps overwintering it. These gherkins aren't looking right happy. I'm wondering if they're coming to end. And I've had lots of them. So I'm not too bothered, but I'm not growing and eating cucumber next year if sort of that's what happens. I am going to do lots of gherkins because, as I've said before, I really like gherkins. Now, any of you YouTubers, I know there's a couple of YouTubers that actually watch my videos. I don't know whether they're just watching for a laugh. Oh, look at that idiot. I don't care. If you get a bit of entertainment, happy days, eh? You know, this is going to be what I'm going to put my competition carrots in. Me and a few mates are having a bit of a laugh, and we're going to try for the longest carrot between us. But yes, I've got some sand. I'm probably going to need a hell of a lot more. But I'm assuming I do, but do I put holes in the bottom, drainage holes? Or do you know, not put drainage holes in, let the bottom fill with a bit of water, and let the carrots sort of find it, for want of a better word. And we've got a Tamara cucumber, which once again, I'm not really bothered if there's only one on it. I mean, there isn't, there's a couple, and a couple of flowers. In fact, there's three, there's one down there on the floor. It can kind of do what it wants for, there's one back there. I'm just perpetuating the seed. I'm going to hopefully have one to eat to make sure it stayed true to form, true to type, because it was a beautiful cucumber. It was almost sweet, it was almost like a pear. Really nice. And I'll be gutted if I've accidentally cross-pollinated those seeds with something. This probably is a jalapeno, since I seem to have a hell of a lot of jalapenos. This should be a baby pepper, but it's not, it's a jalapeno. Oh, I don't know. I give up with my peppers this year, you know. I'll be restarted next year. I've got some pure true to form jalapeno seeds. The Sugar Rush, I've managed to isolate some Sugar Rush, although I'm probably going to end up looking at this bad boy. I'm hopefully going to isolate a hell of a lot more, because I know there's a lot of people that want these seeds. So that is sort of a big focus for me this year, is to isolate as many of these Sugar Rushes as I possibly can. I've managed to isolate sort of 3 or 4 at home. I'm going to isolate some here as well, and see what I end up with. But yeah, kohlrabi, the beetroot's all out now. That's not been replanted. I can't decide whether to replant with some beetroot in here, because the polytunnel should, in theory, make the season long enough. I'm not sure. I can't decide. I know what the missus would say. She'd say, yeah, crack on. But I tell you what, working in that polytunnel this time of year, it's too much like hard work. Well chuffed with these guys. Me Napa cabbage. They're flying away, so I'm well happy with those. Hopefully we'll get some kimchi off those bad boys. This is my next job. I know I said it was the corn, but it's not, it's this bed. I'll put the covers back on the other one. I'm going to get in here, get all this mare's tail out, all these leftover schlots and bits of grass down the side, and have a good look at those petit pan squash down the bottom there. There is some, not ready for harvest, but there is some petit pan on there. I'm quite looking forward to tasting them, because from what I understand it's quite a hassle-free squash. It's you know, you roast the whole bloody thing and eat the whole bloody thing, so you know, I like that. It's hassle-free. There's Sunday dinner, Monday dinner, Tuesday dinner, oh look, and the rest are following. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday must be off somewhere else. I think she might be laying an egg by it sounds like noises coming from the coop. Don't tell the kids, they don't need to know. Oh, there's Saturday. All these troughs you can see knocking around, they're all getting overgrown. I know they're all getting overgrown, but the dirt in them is just to be emptied out over this side, and I shan't be reusing them next year. They were just overspill for my garlic, but this next year is going to be a lot more controlled. I'm not growing half as much garlic. I'm just doing 12 elephant. Sort of, don't you dare get in there Friday dinner. Oh, that's alright, you can peck away at that stuff, that's all weeds. Someone's been eating my blueberries. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought. The chickens are trying to destroy everything, so I'm going to call that a day. So there's not really much to see. I don't really have any helpful hints and tips today that I can think of. Build a big bin for your chicken shit. That's awesome stuff, especially for retire. When you come to the end of the season, you come to retire your beds. That's all I've put underneath the cardboard, and then I'm going to put manure on top of the cardboard, another layer of cardboard, and hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, I'll have some hassle-free no-dig beds. If no-dig is to be believed. I'm a bit of a skeptic. I've noticed even Charles Dowding now has started putting out videos about how to tackle diseases in his beds, in the no-dig beds. So, you know, maybe you know, problems have been discovered. And my other issue with no-dig is, yeah, it's great if you've got the space and the hundreds of pounds in compost, but if you ain't got the space, you know, what are you going to do? You know, if you do a no-dig bed for your potatoes, let's say, you know, you're going to end up with potato blight or potato diseases or something like that in that bed pretty quick if you use it time and time again. I don't really do a lot of rotation, but my potatoes, I try and plant no more than 3 times in the same place. I don't know whether diseases these days are old wives' tales. You know, we've got genetically modified potatoes and you know, disease resistance and all that stuff, but would you want to risk it? You know, you put, what was it, about 12-14 weeks in these things, and do you want to risk them getting a disease for the sake of not being able to move them 10 feet that way? Because that's a no-dig bed, and that's not, who knows. Anyway, I'm going to call that quits. Ta-ta for now.